I said I'm interviewing Charleston White. They're like, oh, we got to catch a flight and come and watch this because everybody back home where I'm from, Stockton, California, where I live now, as you know, and around the country, watches you online, is tapped into everything you say and do. And I think every time you turn on the internet, you go viral. I don't know if that's by design.
That's intentional.
Is it intentional?
Yeah, I do that intentional.
You do?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me. I was actually excited and nervous at the same time.
Nervous is, I don't want to hear that. I'm not accepting that Charleston White was nervous.
Even when I do stand-up, I tell my partners, man, I got to work this nervousness off, and they think I be playing. But nah, man, anytime the camera come on you, and it's not scripted, it's an element, for me it is. I'm nervous because, man, I don't know what I'm gonna say sometimes because I'm so truthful.
Yeah.
And there's a brutal truth to a lot of the things that I say, but I like to use the ugly truth.
Yeah.
And the ugly truth is very offensive.
Shout out to Lady T for sending this question, but she says, is an abrasive, in-your-face approach necessary to get people's attention?
I mean, you
depends
have to know
on the environment.
Bingo. You have to know your audience. If your audience is a bunch of opies with freckle face and they smiling and they have, you might have to be a little softer side. But if you see some do-rags in the crowd and some gold teeth, you know what I'm saying, you might have to adjust your message because and some palm tree, haircuts, you might have to have a different approach, because they're not going to be trying to hear what you're trying to say.
All right, go ahead, Balance. What are your thoughts about it, man?
So Charleston, can you hear me good?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Charleston White was one of the only shorts that I posted on on YouTube that got 1 million views. 1 million views, my only video that got 1 million views. So my point of saying that is Charleston White, he triggers people negative, positively, and he has that effect on people where they're going to stop and listen. They're going to watch it regardless. So the fact that it's true is sad, but it's very true. It's completely true. I have not had a viral video like that since Charleston White. And my point of saying that is a lot of the culture, we come from broken homes, broken families. We didn't have the father. The father is the discipline. So when you don't have that, it's like now you're attracted to more toxic things like that. And you want to stop and you want to listen to it. It's a different way to listen to people and to listen to things they have to say, because it's like, if I'm saying it, you're not going to listen to it. If I'm saying it in this tone, in this voice, and I'm saying it in a sweet manner, you're not listening. But I put Charleston White, we could have the same exact message and he gets 1 million views. It's just a fact. It's a fact of the matter. And it's sad that that's the truth. But the majority of our culture, that's how they're taking in knowledge right now. That's how they're taking in information. And I am not in agreement with everything he says at all. There's a lot of things he says and I'm like, I cannot believe he said that. But certain things he says, maybe 40% of things, I agree with him. And it's unfortunate that we have to say it in a toxic way for people to listen, but you got to meet people where they are. So it is what it is.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Luis. Jay, you wanted to say something real quick?
No, I was just saying, and a lot of the people that he once offended, like in the beginning, when he first came out abrasive, a lot of the people that he offended, they now have good relationships. They now work together. They now are inviting them to their podcast. They're doing business. So it hurts at first, when you're holding up a mirror to somebody, and that's what he's presenting. He, essentially, I am a mirror of you, of what this culture has, because he said, I grew up on this culture, the misogyny, the violence, the gang. I grew up. So what you're seeing is a reflection of what the culture is raising, essentially.
All right, go ahead, Luis.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the reality is that people don't listen to people when they're speaking if they're outside the cultural vernacular. It's very hard for someone who might share the same, skin as you, might have the same features as you, but if you grew up on a completely different, side of the track, they can't relate to you closely because you don't experience or have gone through the things that they have. So they feel like you're not really relatable. You know what I'm saying? And they feel like it's more talking down. Even if I have the best intention in the world to give you the best free game and give you all the insight to set you up for life, because we didn't have the same upbringing or similarities, it's hard for those people sometimes to trust or grasp onto what people are saying, even though they're giving them the free information. You know what I'm saying? And that's a crossroad that a lot of people kind of tend to come to. I like Charleston White. I mean, he's very blunt, he's very to the point. The reason Charleston White offends people so easily is because we become such a soft society. Like, let's be very honest, we become such a soft society where even giving people constructive criticism to set them up for life, to set them up for the right path, to set them up to win. People take so offensive to that. They internalize that and personalize that. You know, to the example that Hank and Jay were given earlier. When you have moms or parents who show up to games and you see that the coach is a little bit tough on their young boys. If you're not tough on those young boys and you coddle them, you're essentially producing the same piece of cloth of men that a lot of these women are out here complaining about. So why you just don't allow yourself to trust the process? Trust the process that they're going to grasp it. Trust the process that they're going to evolve from it. So we therefore have much better wholesome men, and we have a much better wholesome community of individuals. Far too often, a lot of people are coddled, and I think that's the nucleus in which he attacks. And he makes a lot of people uncomfortable because those people, unfortunately, haven't sat with themselves long enough and say to themselves, what is it about what he is saying makes me so uncomfortable that I have yet undressed? That right there is something that a lot of people unfortunately have not done. People are quick to offend. I love his villain comment. I do want to land to say this. I love his villain comment when he says he wants to become the villain uh, because the villain is such. We talk about the villain all the time. Think about all the villains we talk about. We talk about the homosexuals, the broke dudes, you know what I'm saying, the Pookies, the Ray Rays. All of those are villains. You know what I'm saying? But we never talk about the hero. We never talk about the mantelpiece because we already intrinsically have come to the conclusion, well, they're supposed to be that. They should be that. They're already that, not realizing that the backstory for that person to get what he became is much more in depth versus the people who are just simply becoming the villain. And sort of a lot of people gravitate towards the villain. A lot of people tend to gravitate towards more of the villain because there's something they try to feed whatever negative impulses into that character, and then in time they take certain characteristic traits from that. There was a famous line from Batman. He's like, if you stay along you stick around so long being the hero that you end up becoming the villain. This is a classic example. When he first started, he was the hero. He was out there going to, community meetings. He was out there on the state house trying to help pass bills and policies and stuff like that. He was a very advocate person for the community, for his community, and just people around. And people were not listening. People were not taking him serious. And he was out there with the shirts, with the signs, and pushing and protesting and doing all that. Nobody listened. He transformed himself into the villain in which he described, and this is the result in which you got. Now people are stopping to listen. Now people are, shell shocked of what he's saying. But he's been saying the same thing. The only difference is that his message has been amplified in such a way where now it makes people joke at the moment that he opens his mouth. So that's all I got.
All right, go ahead, Miss Ruth.
Yeah, so I remember when my girls were young and I used to get a little jealous when I used to say, hey, it's time to clean up and all of that. And I gotta get louder and gotta get louder. Come on, guys, you gotta clean up. Da, 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 da. As soon as their dad walk in the house, clean up, it's done. You know, if a man says something, he don't have to raise his voice or anything. It's just the fact that it's low. I don't know what it is. I try to bring my tone lower. It didn't work, but it's the fact that they're a man and they come with the muscles, I guess. I don't know. They it comes with more power, or they're easily persuaded when their father speaks. And that's in general. So for as far as you trying to be loud and toxic, it doesn't always work. But in certain situations, you got to know how to move. If you have somebody that's playing the stepdad role, you can't tell them don't talk to the kid, don't discipline the kid. You got to do like you guys talked about the coach. This is the first time I'm hearing it in that way, but it makes sense. So allow him to discipline the kids, and you know, y'all could talk about it, you know, before or afterwards, but y'all have to allow him to do what he needs to do. If these moms could see that they need that, then allow the kid to get all types of just because you're the mom, it doesn't mean that other people in the community cannot help you raise your child, right? It takes a village. So let him play his role. I know that when you put out good content, it's not even it doesn't automatically get pushed to the top. It could be life-changing, it could be great, but if you don't have this toxic twist, or if you're not saying things that are controversial, it kind of gets pushed down in the algorithm. So we know that happens. So it's just kind of like when you're quiet and mousy, nobody want to hear you, but when you get loud, all of a sudden you got people attention. We see it happen all the time. It's happened to me. So we know that's how we are in the culture, but it's so interesting how you can go to a finance channel. They don't got to scream or yell or whatever, but people hear what they have to say. So people need to know that they need help in the area first. Once they recognize it and the person can give them the answers that they want with time, they will, you know, listen. But you got to keep going if you have a positive message. I don't think people should become toxic just to get their point across. I think you're just going to need more time. And you got to go through the challenges and the battles in order to do that. Because I guess it was a guy playing the violin in the subway, and you know, people wouldn't even give him like $1 or whatever. They was just throwing change and they were just ignoring him. But as soon as he played the same exact thing in a concert hall, now everybody was on their feet. So environment plays a part. Having an audience plays a part. Because some of the times we say stuff that's more important than what celebrities have to say. But because we don't have the name behind it, they're never going to listen. But once you involved in some kind of scandal, or your name gets big, or you go viral, then all of a sudden everybody want to hear what you have to say. So that's why it's making people want to go viral. Then they have to act toxic to go viral. And it's like a downward spiral. So we just have to be careful not to fall into it. If you don't want to be known for something, and Charleston White is saying, like, I don't care what I'm known for. I could be the bad guy. You know, a lot of people don't want to be the bad guy, while they'll never get hurt. So you have to make you have to decide what your morals and principles and ethics are, and move accordingly.
Let me ask you a question, Ruth. You know, you alluded to something that I really liked and it caught my attention. Do you feel that, or believe that you have to be a brand in order to be listened to nowadays?
Sometimes
You
it
know,
seems like it. Mm-hmm.
because we live in a world where everybody has, or almost everybody has, a smartphone, access to the internet, a laptop, some form of technology, right? And sort of everybody can blog, write, message, etc. So everybody, you know, in a holistic thinking way, is everybody has a voice or a platform. But like really, really being listened to, I think you almost have to be a brand yourself.
Yeah, I think
Because
that it starts with the timing though. Like, let's say you started YouTube when, like, in 2008, those people, because I don't want to say if you have to be a brand, that's the only way. But now technology is making it so that if you stay on in the game for a while, you will get your following. It will take time. It can happen. But if you came in at 2008, all those people have millions of subs. If the people that were on YouTube, but just coming in now, you want to come in at 2023, 2024, you got to do your own 10-year journey or whatever it is that you have to do to get your following. And it'll be more genuine if you want a genuine following. But it's possible because you can see it on YouTube, but that doesn't mean that you still need a brand. I believe you still need a brand somewhat.